They've hidden this from us for centuries. And no, I'm not speaking in metaphors or throwing around vague theories. This is real. There's a law, an actual cosmic mechanism taught by Thoth in the ancient halls of Amenti. And once you truly understand it, everything you've been chasing, it starts chasing you instead. It's called the reverse law. And it might just be the most dangerous secret ever passed down. Dangerous because it returns the power back to you. It rips it out of the hands of the system, the conditioning, the noise, and hands it right back where it belongs, to your heart, your mind, your inner state. But here's the kicker. You're already using this law every single day, only you're probably using it backwards. And that's what's creating scarcity. That's what's creating emotional blocks, endless waiting and pain. So today I'm going to show you exactly how Thoth taught this law so that no one, and I mean no one, can ever hold you back again. And don't worry, this isn't just esoteric theory. I'm going to show you how this works with real stories, with grounded examples, and with a simple, powerful exercise you can do today. Not tomorrow, today, to feel the universe respond to you effortlessly. Stick around till the end, seriously. Because the part where most people give up, that's exactly where the most important key shows up. The key that helps you live this law daily without rituals or complicated steps. It's what finally makes life flow without resistance. Now, listen closely, because what you're about to hear in the next few minutes can completely flip how you understand manifestation forever. Have you noticed this before? The harder you chase something, the more it runs from you. But when you stop, when you go silent, when you finally let go, it shows up, sometimes effortlessly. Thoth knew this thousands of years ago. He described this moment as conscious surrender, the instant when your inner grip releases and life begins to move naturally again. Not by your force, but by its own harmony. Think about the little moments in your life. Remember those nights you couldn't sleep, spinning the same problem over and over in your head? You tried everything, called people, pushed, forced, exhausted yourself, but nothing budged. Then one day, burnout, you just said, "Whatever, I'm done." And like magic, the solution appeared. A call, an email, an idea you'd missed out of nowhere. That's not coincidence. That's not randomness. That's the law in motion. Because according to Thoth, the universe is self-balancing. It doesn't need you to hustle it into alignment. It needs you to stop resisting it. And here's the twist: resistance often wears the mask of effort. That's why sometimes the harder you try, the more stuck things feel. But the moment you let go, not because you gave up, but because you trust the pieces click into place. And this isn't passivity. It's not apathy. It's alignment. It's deep, grounded trust. Thoth called trust the most powerful frequency in the invisible world. Because when you trust, you silence the anxious static. And in that quiet space, the invisible begins to move. Finally, you've probably seen this in your relationships. You wanted someone so badly you tried to control the timing, the outcome, and everything got harder. But the moment you released it, moved on, healed, they circled back. Or maybe in your career, you knocked on every door, followed every lead. Nothing. Then you shifted focus, and the opportunity came from where you least expected. See, the laws that govern the flow of life, they don't follow human logic. They respond to balance. When you're vibrating anxiety, need, desperation, you send out a chaotic frequency. And the universe, being neutral, reflects that chaos back to you. But when you return to center, when you stop controlling and start trusting, the field reorganizes itself. You don't have to force the tree to grow once you've planted the seed. You just have to water it, keep it in the light, and wait. Think of a farmer. He plants a seed. He doesn't dig it up every day in panic to see if it's growing. He doesn't yell at the soil. He trusts the timing of nature. And that's how manifestation works. The problem is the modern mind doesn't like this. We're trained to believe we need to micromanage everything. That control equals safety. That if we're not calculating, planning, predicting, we're at risk. But Thoth warned us, the attempt at total control is the root of all suffering. The true creator, he said, doesn't control the flow. He collaborates with it. And when you let go, the invisible gets to work. Not because you gave up, but because you finally made space for the greater intelligence of life to move in. That's when synchronicity steps in. The right people. The perfect timing. The answer you'd never find through logic alone. The universe is smarter than your plans. And it wants to help, but you've got to step aside. But don't get confused. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting what you want. It doesn't mean pretending you don't care. It means releasing the emotional grip, letting go of the pressure. You still remember the desire, but with peace, not panic, with trust, not tension. Someone who truly lets go continues forward with a calm heart. They're not waiting in fear. They're not obsessing. They know that what's meant for them is already on the way. And this is where Thoth drops the biggest secret of all. Behind what looks like coincidence is a principle, a universal mechanism, the reverse law. It's not a metaphor. It's physics of the soul. You were taught to hold on, to grip, to chase, to hustle. But Thoth taught the opposite. The tighter your grip, the more life slips away. But the moment you stop clutching, it flows. He explained it like this: the universe hates a vacuum. When you create inner emptiness, a space free of anxiety and control, it rushes to fill it. Nature is always trying to bring balance. When you stop trying to control everything, when you stop filling every gap with worry and doubt, you become a channel, a conduit, an opening through which manifestation can occur. That's the power of the reverse law. But here's the catch: the mind fights this. It wants to fill every space with what ifs. It wants to predict the future, calculate the risk, control the outcome. But the law only activates when you become spacious, when you enter the ancient Hermetic principle of action through non-action. And no, that doesn't mean laziness. It doesn't mean sitting around waiting. It means acting from peace instead of panic. Moving with alignment, not anxiety. It's like a candle in the dark. It doesn't scream to be seen. It just shines. And its light fills the room naturally. Thoth said the harmony of the cosmos doesn't need your strain. It needs your stillness. It's always active, but your noise drowns it out. When that noise goes quiet, the path appears. You've lived this before. Think about it. When you were relaxed and calm, how often did things just work out? The right message, the right person, the right decision without trying. That wasn't luck. That was the reverse law working in your favor when you finally stop pushing. The only problem, most people don't know they're using it in reverse. This hidden wisdom, this law that flips everything we've been taught, wasn't kept from us by accident. It was buried because it challenges the entire foundation of modern life. The world we live in is obsessed with doing pushing and achieving through force. It rewards the loudest, the busiest, the most exhausted. But Thoth said something radical. The one who aligns with the invisible flow will go farther than the one who tries to force the river. So let's ask the question that changes everything. If effort alone doesn't create, what does Thoth answer this thousands of years ago? He pointed not to external action, but to an internal field, a hidden part of you that shapes reality from within. He was talking about your subconscious mind, or as the Hermetics called it, the portal between the visible and the invisible. This is where it all happens. This is where the reverse law takes root. The great illusion of our time is thinking that reality responds to what we consciously want, that if we just wish hard enough, say the right affirmations, or act with intensity, we'll manifest what we desire. But Thoth revealed the opposite. Reality responds to what your subconscious believes to be true, not what you say, not what you hope, but what you silently feel deep in your being when no one's watching. Think of your subconscious as fertile soil. It doesn't judge. It doesn't argue. It simply absorbs whatever seeds you plant. So if you plant a feeling of fear, it grows situations that feed that fear. If you plant lack, you get more of it. But if you plant trust, peace, and certainty, even if the outer world shows the opposite, those seeds quietly take root and eventually bloom in your reality. Here's where most people get stuck. They say, I want abundance, but they vibrate with worry. I want love, but they carry neediness. I want peace, but their body lives in tension and anxiety. And the subconscious doesn't care about words. It cares about vibration. It mirrors back what you feel to be real. Thoth explained that the subconscious doesn't speak logic. It doesn't understand begging or pleading. It responds only to the silent feeling of truth. So when you feel something as real even before, there's proof your inner field receives that message and begins shaping the outer world to reflect it. That's why so often you do all the right things, say all the right things, but nothing changes because underneath it all, you're still vibrating doubt. You're trying to plant flowers in soil filled with fear. And that's why the reverse law seems to work against you, until you flip the switch. Now imagine this. You feel peace even when there's chaos around you. You feel gratitude for something that hasn't arrived yet. You hold trust not because you have evidence, but because you've decided to. That's when the invisible starts working. Not because you forced it, but because you've stopped resisting it. This isn't about pretending. It's not about faking happiness when things are hard. It's about refusing to let your outer circumstances dominate your inner state. You can acknowledge your current reality while still aligning with the one you're creating. And in that balance, the subconscious remains fertile. The field stays open. The seed is alive. That's the sacred paradox. When you let go, it comes. When you no longer need it to feel whole, it shows up. And I know this sounds crazy to the mind that's been trained to grind, to hustle, to overthink. But Thoth taught a completely different path. A softer, deeper, more powerful one. Not the path of force, but the path of frequency. This is the reverse law in its purest form. It's not your effort that creates, it's your surrender. Not your control, but your peace. Think about the moments in your life when something you wanted finally arrived, but only after you stopped waiting for it. A message, a call, an opportunity. You'd already let it go, moved on, and that's when it showed up. That wasn't coincidence. That was the universe finally able to move, because you stepped out of the way. Thoth said, when your hands are clenched tight, the universe cannot place anything new in them. But when you open them, life flows in. Letting go doesn't mean giving up on your dreams. It means freeing your dreams from the grip of anxiety. It means sending them into the field of possibility and trusting the process. Imagine someone who spends years chasing validation, trying to be seen, praised, recognized, but nothing satisfies them. Then one day they stop. They stop needing approval and start living with authenticity. And suddenly the recognition arrives. Or someone desperate for love. They search, they compromise, they chase, but it never lasts. Then they shift. They find joy in solitude. They build a life they love. And in that peace, someone walks and someone aligned. Why? Because their desire was no longer a cry for something missing. It became an extension of their wholeness. Thoth made it clear the universe listens not to your requests, but to your resonance. When you vibrate need, even if you're asking for something beautiful, what you're really broadcasting is lack, and the universe simply reflects that signal. But when you let go, when you return to peace, your vibration naturally rises, and with it, you attract from a higher level. Not as a reward, not as luck, but as a law. That's the paradox again. The more you feel you need something, the more it eludes you. But when you feel whole already, when you no longer need it to feel fulfilled, it begins to show up. Not because you've been tested, not because life is cruel, but because now there's finally space for it. Life isn't punishing you, it's just reflecting you. And every time you felt blocked, stuck, or unheard, it's likely because you were unknowingly vibrating resistance. But here's the beautiful part. It only takes one moment to shift. One moment of real surrender. You don't need years of rituals. You don't need 1,000 affirmations. You just need one sincere moment of inner release, of saying, I trust. But and this is a big one, letting go only works when the desire you're releasing was planted in the right soil to begin with. Because a lot of people let go, but they planted in fear, in doubt, in urgency. So even when they step back, nothing grows. And that brings us to the most overlooked truth of all, the seed moment. Thoth said that when you plant a desire in the invisible field, it's a sacred act. And sacred acts require reverence. You can't plant a seed in the chaos of anxiety and expect it to bloom in peace. You can't build your future from a foundation of fear. In the Hermetic teachings, Thoth revealed in the rituals of Jehuti that true creation doesn't happen when the mind is noisy. It happens when the heart is calm and the emotion is pure. What does a pure emotion mean? It means a desire that comes not from desperation, not from emptiness, but from wholeness. A desire that arises from vision, not survival. Your subconscious is like rich soil, and whatever emotion you carry when you plant your desire, that's what the seed absorbs. Planted in haste, the seed carries rush. Planted in fear, the seed absorbs doubt, but planted in peace with clarity and calm presence. Now that seed carries trust, and it will grow in harmony. That's why the emotional state you're in at the moment of creation is everything. Thoth taught that the perfect time to plant a desire isn't during chaos, but during quiet. When the conscious mind relaxes, when you're not calculating or controlling, the subconscious opens. That's why ancient initiates performed their rituals at dawn in the twilight hours or right before sleep. Not because of superstition, but because those were the moments when the gate to the invisible was wide open. And you don't need incense or ceremony. Just find a still space. Breathe. Close your eyes. Let the chatter fade. And in that inner silence, feel what you desire as if it's already true. Not as a wish, as a recognition. You're not asking for it, you're acknowledging it already exists in the field. That's the secret of silent creation. Now comes a powerful warning that most people miss. One Thoth emphasized over and over: don't disturb the soil. Once you've planted your intention, once that seed is in the ground, the worst thing you can do is dig it up constantly, doubting, checking, overanalyzing. That's what kills the root. Not life, not fate, your own impatience. Thoth called this the protective silence, a sacred state where after you plant the seed, you stand guard. Not like someone waiting nervously, but like a peaceful warrior quietly protecting the temple of your inner world. You're not passive, you're not numb, you're simply stable. Picture this: a warrior stands outside a temple. He doesn't move, he doesn't speak, but his presence alone keeps everything misaligned from entering. That's your role after the seed is planted. You guard your frequency. You don't let doubt, fear, or noise walk in and mess with your field. So how do you protect that inner space? First, by stepping away from whatever weakens your trust. That might be news people, social media conversations filled with fear or scarcity. Then by nurturing your trust daily. Feed it with gratitude. Recall times life surprised you. Keep your attention on the harmony, not the absence. But just as important is this: stop interfering. Don't obsessively visualize every detail. Don't repeat affirmations like a machine. That turns your vibration mechanical, lifeless. And Thoth warned, when you stir the soil too much, you suffocate the sprout. Creation needs space. It needs quiet. Protect your field like you would something sacred. When fear knocks, don't resist it. Just let it pass. When anxiety flares, return to your center. The more often you do this, the stronger your field becomes. And the more life can unfold without resistance. And here's the deepest truth of all: the level very few ever reach. There's a state where you don't even need to visualize anymore. You don't need words. You don't need to constantly set intentions. Because at that level, everything inside you is already aligned. The vibration is stable. It's constant. It's clear. Thoth called this silent faith, a frequency so pure that it doesn't require mental effort. It simply is. It's not about waiting. It's about living as if it's already done. Not with fake confidence, but with real grounded knowing. You walk, breathe, and act with the subtle power of someone who's not waiting on life to prove anything. Because you already know how this ends. That's the highest frequency. And it doesn't shout. It doesn't demand. It whispers. Real faith doesn't argue with reality. It harmonizes with what's coming. And in that silence where doubt is absent and the heart is steady, things begin to move faster than ever. Life bends around your vibration. Not because you pushed it, but because you matched it. Now let's bring this all into reality. How do you actually live this? How do you create a lifestyle that aligns with the invisible? Start by noticing something: most people live in constant effort, in constant doubt. But there are very few who've discovered this different rhythm. They stop chasing, they stop forcing, and somehow life begins to reorganize around them. Their stories aren't in mainstream books, but they're real. A man burdened by years of financial struggle, he tried everything, worked harder, pushed, failed again, until one day he surrendered. Not in defeat, but in trust. He stopped chasing, and in a few weeks, a job he hadn't even looked for appeared, in the exact field he loved, with income better than he ever imagined. Or a woman tired of heartbreak who decided to stop looking, not out of bitterness, but because she chose to love her own company. And the moment she truly felt whole, someone entered her life, someone whose presence reflected the peace she had finally found. And maybe the most miraculous someone facing an illness the doctors had no solution for. She stopped battling it, not with denial, but with deep spiritual alignment. She began focusing on the health she already held within, Slowly, her body responded, silently. Months later, medical tests confirmed it, not as magic, but as a reflection of a deep inner shift. These are the stories that echo through the halls of a mentee. They're not myths. They're the result of living the law. Because the invisible moves when you stop blocking it. When you get out of the way, the intelligence of the cosmos steps in and reorganizes everything. This is not philosophy, it's practice. And it doesn't require blind belief, it only requires you to stop interfering with what already wants to help you. But here's the final truth. This only works when it becomes a way of life. You can't just apply this law like a trick when things go wrong. You can't just let go when you're desperate and expect the universe to obey your timeline. The reverse law transforms your life when trust becomes your default. When you act without rushing, when you desire without grasping, when you create without control. Wake up each day with clear intentions, but without clinging to the outcome. Work with dedication, but release the pressure. Speak your truth to the universe, but also know how to be quiet long enough to hear it speak back. This is not about effort, it's a state of being. It's the inner frequency of calm certainty. And when that becomes your baseline, life flows. The right people show up. The right opportunities open. The right situations unfold because they match your inner world. When you live in that state, the outer world can shake, but you don't. Because your foundation is no longer external. It's anchored within. Thoth said, "The one who walks in harmony can walk on the waters of chaos and never sink." So if you've made it this far, it's because something deep inside you is remembering this truth. Let me know in the comments what insight hit you the hardest. What part of this message opened something in you? And if this video spoke to your soul, there's a link in the first pinned comment where you can support this channel. Your contribution helps keep these teachings alive and helps more people remember what's been hidden for centuries. Before you go, there's another video waiting for you. It's right here on the screen, and it's the next step on this journey. In it, I'll show you how to take everything we just learned and start using it today. Click it now and let's keep walking this path together.